Hi, it's James Harrison here to talk about the drumming influences. Today's number two. It is Buddy Rich, a long time considered the greatest drummer in the world by many and still by many. Growing up, I considered him the greatest drummer in the world or the best drummer in the world. I was introduced to Buddy through just hearing about it and my first drum teacher, Chuck Simons, but also watching him on the Tonight Show appearances back then, because you could get in the TV guide and it would tell you who was going to be the guest on the shows, and you could, stay up late and watch it. I was just fascinated by his hand technique and his hand speed, and I was a fan of big band drumming too. So Buddy Rich was definitely a favorite, an inspiration back then, an inspiration still today. One of my favorites of all time. As far as I'm concerned, he could still be considered the greatest, but somebody I have followed for a long time, stolen a lot of ideas from. And back in the day, we didn't have YouTube and stuff like that. Like I said, you could stay up and watch Johnny Carson or something like that. Or, of course, you bought the records. And back then, the turntables had multiple speeds on them. And they had if I'm not mistaken, it was 16, 33, which was an album, 33, 45 was the little records, and then 78s. And you could move those speeds around. And to try to figure out some of the stuff Buddy was doing that was very fast, you could slow that down to 16. It would be like half the speed, and you could try to copy some of the licks. You couldn't see what the sticking was, and you couldn't see him do it. You just had to try to figure it out by ear. Nowadays, we all look at YouTube and try to take everything we can visually. When I was growing up, we didn't have that access. So it's great that YouTube is there for everybody to see and everything. However, I think it was a little bit more mysterious, and people kind of had their own styles and stuff like that, had their own identities for longer periods of time before everybody kind of tried to steal all those licks and tricks and create their own with it. And that's a lot of the modern drumming. However, still fascinating drummer to listen to. Some of my favorite albums, Big Swing Face is tremendous. I like the Roar of '74. I'm drawing a blank on the name of it because they've repackaged some of these things a couple times. But Plays and Plays is another one that's really, really good. But anyway, just a huge fan, will always be a fan, think he's the best. And so the number two influence for me is Buddy Rich.